Today we have with us Sebastian Chrobok, VP of Evoke Europe Sales. And
Sorry, actually, you know what? If we're doing the recording, I'm gonna sit down in a little with different background. There's a little bit more better.
No problem.
Don't mind.
No problem. Go ahead.
There we go. A little bit more motorcycle-ish viewing. There we go.
Yeah. So
it's as well on the camera.
Yeah. So Evoke Electric Motorcycle designs and manufactures smart motorcycles that are safer, greener, and more accessible to those with desire to ride. And today we have Sebastian, who looks after Europe sales. And I think as we talked before the recording, he's been on the I believe an Asian tour to look after how they can collaborate and how they can expand. So welcome, Sebastian, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you. So we'll start with our question and answer session, Sebastian. So
sure.
How did Evoke happen to you?
How did it start? You mean?
Yeah, how did it start? Yeah.
So Evoke started really from passion. It started of passion for motorcycling, and me and my two friends, I'm one of the co-founders as well of the company, and me and my two other partners, we really wanted to ride motorcycles. And motorcycling it's an adventure. It's an adventure which can be very exciting. However, when you live in the work, just to navigate the short streets.
Understand.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then one day we basically been riding a little bit around, and we figured, how can we make it better? You know, how can we make it more fun? And it wasn't for a company. It wasn't for any of that. It was literally for just ourselves, for three of us. And Nathan, our founder and CEO, he comes from from automotive customizations background. He's an electrical engineer as well, and I come from a business background, but I've been my father is a technical engineer, and so I've been assembling and disassembling cars since I was 11 years old as well. And then our American partner Chris, he comes from a very different background. He comes from the computer science backgrounds, where he builds all of the electronics and stuff like this. And we sit down together and we're like, well, can we try electric bike? Maybe would that be even more fun to ride in a big city and stuff like this? And we tried to look around on the market, and there was nothing there really. I mean, you had a couple of the companies in US or other places. The pricing was ridiculous. I mean, it's just absolutely insanely high and other things. And we understand that this is a modern industry, but wow, I mean, just too much. So we said to each other, like a bunch of young guys, well, hey, we are all three engineers, we all building stuff. Can we try to build something? And that's how it started. We built something first for ourselves.
Right.
And then as we built it for ourselves, we moved on to the, to try to slowly improving these things what we built. At some point, it's hard for people to put it in time. At some point, some people some friends came to us and they said, hey man, this is really cool. Can you build me one? And we say, sure, you know, if you pay for the parts and other things, yeah, I have some time on the weekend. So that wasn't even a job. That was literally a weekend, a kind of, let's say, a hobby away from your home and wife and kids.
Right.
And then as we kept doing these things, other people show up, more people show up. And slowly by slowly, we start getting more support as well from local businessmen who saw that what we're doing has a potential, and where we taking the designs, how we implementing the safety elements, and we putting Western standards to our builds. They offered help, and as people were trying to help us, give us a small seed rounds to get things started. We knew at that time we had to set up a company. And in 2016, that's when the Evoke motorcycles have been officially, let's say, announced.
Okay.
Since then, we slowly continue on to changing the motors, upgrading the vehicle motors, upgrading the build qualities, more computer electronics, more connected drive elements into it. And that led us slowly to 2017. So throughout the year, we almost redesigned the entire vehicle from bottom up. All the electronics, all the computers, new battery systems and stuff like this. Multiple layers of safety on the battery itself to make sure that nothing ever happens, that people can plug in the battery and go home and just sleep. Just like you would want this kind of thing to make sure that you don't really have to worry about the vehicle or whether the things get stolen or stuff like this. You wanted to enjoy your time with the vehicle rather than thinking about what am I supposed to do with this technology.
Right.
And around 2017, it's when a couple of people from Foxconn came to us and they heard about us, what we were doing. And they're, what do you call it, the Beijing, Langfang, and Tianjin, one of the bigger managers over here in this segment, he offered us a very straightforward package. He's like, if you guys want to build something like this, you know, Foxconn is right over here on your doorsteps. Would you like to come and see if we can figure out what we can work together? And they offer us, what you call it, an incubator. We found it very useful because being in the Foxconn incubator segment means that we get to learn about what is a large-scale manufacturing. What are the issues and things we have to consider when you want to build more vehicles? And as we've been learning all of these things, we were preparing for our EEC homologations. And January 2018 is when we received our EEC homologation. In the meantime, we have been awarded one of the brightest startups at CES Asia in Shanghai in that year. And then since January 2018, when we got awarded our EEC, UN 38.3 and other certifications for safety and stuff like this, we slowly start talking to all of our, what you call it, potential interested dealers and partners in different countries. And they start bringing samples, they start bringing small scale productions to really get a feeling for the market. It wasn't all perfect at first. Nobody is, I suppose. There's always ups and downs in everything. But we learned really fast. So with each samples, with each generation of the small batch productions, we quickly learn and adapt new technologies, new systems, powder coatings, elements on the frames. We've adjusted what you call it, our assembly standards, QC standards, and we keep growing, and we still are. We still keep developing and evolving, and we're putting a lot of emphasis on that segment. So half of our engineering team is continuously in touch with all of the people from around the world, our distributors, and collecting feedback from all the way to the smallest riders. We'd like to hear not from even the distributor, not even from our dealer. We want to hear all the way to our riders. We have a substantial group of riders here in China who provide us feedbacks from different environments, from very cold regions to very hot regions, weather. And thanks to that as well, we were able to quickly make modifications and things to make sure that the vehicles perform perfectly and accordingly in all of those situations. Like, you know, in south of China, first of all, there's a lot of rain.
Right.
And then up north, you have a very dry segment, but then there is a segment where there's like really cold as well. And we want to make sure that the vehicles can operate in all conditions, no matter what. That was one of the elements that we put ourselves as a standard. It has to be a real vehicle. It's going to be a toy which just works for a bit. So even if it's monsoon, even if it's rains, etc., people will have to be able to commute. Right. And then as we keep growing, nowadays we're expanding into the other markets around the world. And we keep moving forward with all of the things as we're coming along. Sure. Sorry, I do need to cut over here for a second. I'll have to jump into the room.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because it's a recording, actually. Hi, Dan. Sorry, I'll join you a little bit later on. Sorry. And that was actually Nathan, our founder over here as well. Yep. He's running another meeting, so I'm just going to have to switch the room. Okay. Maybe give you a small tour as well on the office. Sure. There's some of the engineering team over here. Hey, guys. Hey, guys. You're on the camera.
Hey, how are you?
Cool. So this is Alex. Alex is from Australia.
Hey, Alex.
He's taking care of our customer service, technical support, and any kind of support you need, he'll find a way to sort you out. Here we go. That's Angel. He's from Spain. Angel is over here doing all of the design. So he's actually hand drawing every single bike, every single component that have to come in. And then Samuel, who is in France, takes it off from him and puts it onto the computer. And then we take it back into the 3D prints and test new parts.
Fantastic. Angel.
Yeah. There's Vitaly over there. He's actually going the test on the vehicles and the vehicle battery systems. Yeah. Yeah, we got a little map of whereabouts actually everybody is in the world.
Wow.
We've got people from all over the world right nowadays helping us out to build the whole thing.
Fantastic.
Yep, I'll put it here. I have to move into the office, as I mentioned.
Sure.
Cool. Yeah.
So that is how Evoke started with all the friends collaborating together and building your passion.
Yeah. Exactly. This is started from like I've mentioned, this started from passion. There wasn't a focus on the business or development. And the major part that we took into consideration that is, if we're going to be doing this as a business, we want to make sure that we can build a vehicle which is affordable, which is something that is for everyday user. We understand that our first vehicle, Urban, the both Urban S and Urban Classic, which are available for sale now, both of those vehicles, as the name says, Urban is for the environment. It's literally a workhorse, something that you can ride every day, Monday to Friday, work back, work back. You can move around the city continuously.
Right.
Charge it from whether it's a charging station or whether it's a 220 standard plug, another thing. So you have an access to the electricity anywhere. And as you're charging, even on this first models, you can charge it anything between 90 minutes on the faster charging to 3 hours on the normal 220 as well.
Right.
And those elements just allow open people to, to be able to access the entire city really quickly.
Right.
Navigate through traffic and stuff like this.
Right. So I was coming to the next question to you, Sebastian. Right. Recently, there was a lot of talks on the fast charging from Evoke. Right. Fast charging battery. So do you want to shed some light on the fast charging battery system, how that works?
Sure. So let's start maybe with the very simple element, because very few people really understand how difficult it is to achieve fast charging in the vehicles.
In real time, yeah.
Like I would say this way: if you put your two hands together and you start pushing them against each other, the faster you do and the more pressure you do, that's how the charging works.
Right.
So you kind of compress energy into the battery. At the same time, the particles of energy just keep moving, and that generates tremendous amount of heat. Now, in the cars, like trucks and other things, you can do a big DC to DC charging is because the batteries are huge. The huge battery means that they take that amount of current and power that is put into the battery and they spread across the entire battery. So the vehicle batteries, they get high, but they don't get too high.
Right.
Now, another thing is that lithiums, when they get to temperatures over around 45 degrees Celsius, and at this point, you're burning the lithium, you're destroying your battery, you're losing your cycles, you're losing your, let's say, your ranges, your life expectancy of this battery. And then there is something called the 55 degrees mark. At 55 degrees, you're reaching that critical temperature that the lithium, once it reaches these temperatures, the batteries, they will continuously keep going until they go poof. So in motorcycling, for example, what we did is what you have the biggest issues is the size. You don't want to have the battery too big. The bigger the battery, the more weight you have. The more weight you have, then you need more power. It's a vicious cycle that basically the more you're doing, the more you're adding, and the cost of the vehicle goes through the roof. Exactly. So we've been experimenting is how do you maintain fast charging by keeping the batteries really cool, around 25 to 30 degrees. So you never hit that 45, that 35, 38, 40 degrees Celsius mark, where the vehicles and the batteries basically lose on the life expectancies. And at the same time, you want to be able to do it constant, that it never really impacts your life. And that's where our thermal management systems, the new BMS systems, the new battery monitoring system as well came on board, as well as the vehicle VCUs, which monitor the whole thing all together. All of them combining create 15 minutes to 70, 80% charge from DC to DC stations, etc., on the vehicle, without compromise of your life cycles, without compromise on the battery, and never exceeding the temperatures. And this is huge. I mean, we invited here a lot. We haven't even invited lots of big companies just come to us nowadays, and they would like to learn about these systems more. We actually just won the awards in Tokyo for the designs and the concepts that we're putting over here into worlds from both from Nikkei and Smoto fans as well. So it's huge, and we're hoping that we can release this whole technology and other things onto onto our motorcycles in India soon. But then here's the most important part is we were able to develop these things even in a small battery package, something that is accessible to an average day scooter. So the fast charging as well option, why we're going in this direction is a lot. We personally believe it's a lot safer than swapping batteries. Swapping batteries means storing a large amount of batteries in public places. That's dangerous.
Right.
Or people bring batteries into their homes, which can cause fires. I mean, I don't think people bring 5 liters of gasoline and sleep next to it, or put their kids next to that thing.
Agree. Yeah, they won't.
Exactly. Yeah, it's dangerous goods. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Now, so when we came up with this design, we realized that we can do it from a really small to motorcycle sizes, as well as into a small vehicles, and it can provide people quick top up, quick charge. Again, keeping pricing low. That's the key element to the whole thing. Something that is affordable.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that had a lot of media, covering on how Evoke is developing a good fast charging system. So I thought of asking you the question as to how you are developing that, and was very excited about it.
We're really excited about ourselves. I mean, right now we continuously running tests here every day. I mean, I'm a kind of, let's say, a little bit a joker. I like sometimes as well have some fun, and I'm like, wow, can we blow something up? And they're like, no, everything is going according to plan. I'm like, oh man, another boring day. Exactly, but it's good. It's just simply we've been over 1,000 cycles right now in different tests from smaller to larger packs. We haven't seen any degradations. We've seen nominal expected, let's say, percentage. I mean, we're talking 2 to 3% degradations and other things, which is just expected of as many cycles as we're doing. Balancing, fuses, and all of the other things that we are doing over here. They're keeping up with the vehicles, and that's important, because fast charging as well. There's another thing about fast charging is that it can disbalance your battery completely, and that can as well ruin your pack, and you have to do it again.
Exactly.
Like I said, the BMS options, it's a lot of it's more complicated than more people think.
Right. It's not as easy as people think.
No. So it's like, think about this way: when you're watching a SpaceX launch, etc., and think about you filling up that rocket full of hydrogen fuels and other things in 15 minutes. These people spend 2-3 days doing this thing slowly, etc., just to make sure everything is maintained, let's say, balanced, because temperatures as well for them are important.
Exactly.
So it's exactly what happens inside the single cells of the battery. So like what we're doing, this is a cell, just to make sure. And in each of the vehicles, there's 700 to 800 small ones in our normal vehicles. In the bigger vehicles, there's like 2,500 of them. Now, our battery system has to make sure that each of them stays nice and warm and not hot. They have to make sure that they get fully charged, and each of them is the same one, and they get charged and discharged at the same time.
Right.
So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work when it comes to the battery.
Right. So moving on to next question, Seb, is would you be able to throw a little light on Project Cruiser that is coming up? I mean, we are not talking about secrets, but
don't worry. I'm very happy.
Yeah.
So just to make sure that people already know this as well, the Project Cruiser's official name is going to be 6061. You're going to be the first one to know this. 6061 is the Evoke's Project Cruiser.
Okay.
And 6061's the first public releases we'll have end of this year, January. We're doing right now some of the last touches.
Okay.
One of the major hurdle with the Project Cruiser was, how do you make a square battery sexy?
Okay.
I mean, motorcycles have to be cool.
Cool, yeah.
And they have to great. They have to touch into your soul. And we've been designing this back and forth. You don't want to just emptiness. You want to have body lines. You want to have curves and other things. The bike is like a beautiful woman that you want to marry. And you're going to spend good part of your life with her. So you want to make sure all of those elements are the right way organized as things. And the bike is already being assembled. We're potentially going to be releasing, what do you call it, 2 models. We had discovered some moments during the designs that we can double the power on that vehicle. So there's going to be a, what we call the city bike with the standard package motor. And then there's going to be the sports version, which is going to be insane in terms of power to a vehicle. Right. But the best part about Project Cruiser is it will really give people, what do you call it, a feeling of electric motorcycle, power per power, range per range, is even cheaper than an actual cruiser size vehicle is what it's going to be. So it's going to be huge. Right. And yeah, so once we're going to have a couple of drawings, I'll send them over. We'll be able to blast them out. The guys are just making final touches. The first, what do you call it, the first samples that have been built over here as well to see that everything aligns the right way. And we're hoping to enter the productions on schedule, which is September, October next year. Great. Thanks for shedding a bit of light on Project Cruiser. We already getting to this point. We've been working on this vehicle for a while. Right. And even the reason why we were supposed to release the vehicle in Milan this year, but then everything came up really close to each other. So we made the discovery on the 15 minutes fast charging, I believe in around June, something like that. And then we decided we're going to pursue that element, see if it's going to really work. And as we moved close to September, October, we realized, oh, wow, we are really around the corner with the battery, with the whole thing. So we said to each other, what's the point releasing the vehicle with a standard thing? Let's delay the whole thing and let's put it all together to really provide people a vehicle that's worth their time. I mean, you're going to be looking at 400 kilometers ranges. I mean, this is EC certification. So let's say EC certifications is usually like 35 kilometers average speed with 70 kilogram person on the vehicle. That means if you're a little bit like me, like 80, 90 kilos and other things, you lose about like 5–10% of the range. Right. But overall, as well, motorcycle will be doing some really crazy ranges that you can actually drive around the entire country with this thing. And the 50 minutes, it takes actually, if you think about this, 50 minutes takes a lot less time to charge than some people go to the bathroom. Exactly. I understand. Yeah. So they will be able to go to a normal gas station, plug it in, charge it up, unplug, and keep going. And this is really going to open the actual motorcycles to drive around the long distances. Exactly. All the same yourself. Right. Yeah. So, Seb, how do you think the motorcycle world, the electric motorcycle world, now that you've been touring across country, across Asia, is changing? Right. It's becoming day by day, it's becoming more competitive. So, how do you think it's changing? Like, I mean, is it becoming more competitive, or like, or technology-wise, how do you think it's changing? Because you are a technology guy as well as a market guy. You know better than us as to It's a very good question. I mean, I look forward. Personally, I'm looking forward to seeing more young companies, more startups coming with ideas, coming and building the vehicle. There's a lot of as well competition coming from the wrong elements. I mean, lots of people can overpromise, and you have to be you really have to listen to what happens, and you have to brush up on your physics a little bit. Exactly. Kilowatt per kilowatt, power consumptions and stuff like this. You don't need a lot of things to actually figure out whether the company is really going to achieving those ranges and those things. Right. You can actually search online how to make those calculations. You can use Google and just type in the numbers in, it'll give you the thing. So you have to be careful of that. But I personally hope to see more and more electric motorcycles on the road. They're a lot more fun and easier to ride around. Right. One of the actually very, very beautiful parts what I enjoy about electric motorcycles is the quietness. I mean, very few people actually know that when you ride a motorcycle every day, motorcycle riders put earplugs. They do. So people on the outside,
Yeah.
yeah, think of this way. If you're sitting on a motorcycle, right, and you're standing next to a coffee shop, you put earplugs, you don't hear the thing. The guy who sits on the drinking a coffee or a masala chai over here, when they hear the bike passing, they're like, "Oh, that's sweet." But if the guy stands next to him while he's talking to his girlfriend, he's like, "Dude, shut up! I can't hear what people saying." And in my personal neighborhood, neighborhoods, the moment I start riding an electric motorcycle, the local security have banned all the gas motorcycles from entering after 9 p.m. There's lots of elderly here. There's lots of children, etc., and they don't want the noise. They said, "Look, if this motorcycle can be quiet, please park your bike outside, enter the neighborhood, walk on the things. We want it quiet in the evening." So I personally believe that electric motorcycles don't just remove the pollution,
Right.
provide element to it, but at the same time, they're removing the noise pollution out of the segment. Now,
Exactly.
I'm not sure how many people actually had the chance to ride an electric motorcycle. First of all, go for a road near the fields without scaring all the animals and actually enjoying the serene beauty of this environment. Hear the wind in your helmet as you're riding. I mean, for me, it was unreal. I mean, when I was riding, I started enjoying the whole vehicle so much. And then the vibration, no whole motor shaking around you, your whole body feels. You have no smell of the gasoline in other parts of you.
Yeah.
And I'm able to go to work in the same clothes that I'm coming to the office, and then I can fit in. I can wear my shirt, I can wear my things, I can come to the office clean. I don't feel my whole hands and everything is vibrating, etc.
Exactly.
Actually, I think about like maybe 2-3 weeks ago, a friend of mine just asked me, "Hey, Seb, do you want to try my new Benelli, etc." And I jump on the bike. My whole body was shaking afterwards. I was like, "Oh my God, I used to ride this," and I'm not. Now that whole vibrations, I thought there was something wrong.
Right.
Peacefulness of actually riding an electric can be really, really serene for the person's inner peace as well.
Right. So that's an ultimate rider's experience, actually.
Oh yeah, and you have to remember another things. Electric motorcycles, they have a lot more power than people realize.
Right.
So power per power, first of all, the Urban S is only 125cc vehicle, right? But it has 116 Newton meters of torque on acceleration.
Wow.
Oh yeah. So what we usually laugh is over here in the office, it's a 125cc in a body of 250cc, so you look good with it.
Right.
And it accelerates like 350 to 400cc.
Exactly.
How good that is. And everybody loves that feeling. I mean, I get on the roads and other things, I zoom between the cars. Best part is the way we design the bike is you get the same acceleration power from 0 to 60 as from 60 to 100. You're in the traffic and you want to overtake somebody, you have exactly amount of power without revving or your bike to overtake somebody and just accelerate and move quickly. You can jump on the bike and just go.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I do hope I will see more and more companies because they help to evolve the market as well over there.
Right. To my next question, Seb, is are you trying to expand yourself in countries like India or Hong Kong or Singapore? You're looking.
That's correct. So,
yeah.
So our company is Evoke Motorcycles is a Hong Kong-based company already.
Okay.
We do have our. We are right now. As we finish our EEC certifications and we having EEC homologation. We've already expanding to all of the European countries. We try to find the good partners to collaborate with together. As I mentioned, this maybe in one of the emails is I'm very, very respected and I'd like to find a local partner to really understand how to do the things together. India is on our to-do list and we are already we're in process of setting up the company already in India. At the same time, we're looking for good partners to actually build the market together and help to electrify. So we want to build our own infrastructure over there to make sure that people can actually charge from every location. Right. Doesn't matter how small, doesn't matter if it's a big city or a small village. We want to be there to be able to bring the electrifications to others. And we do hope to find the right partner that will help us with both growth and vision. to actually move to the next stage. Now that, first of all, Euro 4 engines are coming into India in 2020, as well as, let's be frank, Delhi is a beautiful city, Mumbai is a beautiful city, and then all the pollution generated from this environment can really, well, how can I, the best way to describe it? I was in India when I was a small child.
Okay.
And I remember a beautiful country. I really remember a beautiful country. Going to India 4 years ago, it left me with a very bad experience. So knowing that I can make a small impact to help people reduce that thing,
right,
and bring the technology to India as well, that
right,
can help other companies
right,
collaborate with us together to understand you can switch.
right,
You don't need to use petrol. You don't need to import from other countries the gas. You can just
right,
use what you have. I mean, come on, India has so much sun.
you're right,
You have so much sun, you have so much wind power, you have so much things. There's so much capability that India can be self-dependent without looking at Saudis or other places for oil.
right,
And then removing all that, let's say, pollution from actually burning stuff in the country as well. So all that smoke, if I can just make a small difference and find partners to make their small differences,
right,
all together we can make a big difference later on in the market.
right.
That's one of the reasons why I want to come to India and I want to make the big change.
Exactly.
And we are not just coming to sell, we come in with the technology and other things to build the future.
Exactly. So I think I have done all my 5 top questions to you, Seb. It was very nice talking to you. It was like a mix of technology plus market that often doesn't come into my talks with other people. So I think,
I'm happy to. I'm a very passionate person about what we're doing. The team is over here wants to see what you call the growth.
right,
And like I mentioned, you know, being on the forefront of the electrification, being on the forefront of developing the world and helping countries make a difference.
right,
That's huge. That's something, you know, I don't know where I'm going to be in 5-10 years.
right,
I hope the company will be a global company, and I think that's my dream. The brand will be recognizable everywhere people go, and I can turn around my head, looking somebody zooming on the bike,
exactly,
and say, having great time on this thing. But even if I can just look at this in this moment and says, hey, I made a small difference. I help other companies or other young entrepreneurs to wake up and make a difference on the technology we invented here today.
right,
Now that's huge.
right,
That's huge.
exactly. So I wish you a best of luck in all the endeavors that you take,
Cool.
Seb. And
Well, we'll see each other soon. I mean, my 2 partners are going to be flying to India still in December, and I'm going to be in India in February during one of the transit appointments. Potentially, we can see each other over there again.
fantastic. I think if you're in Pune, definitely. If you want me to come somewhere else, I can definitely come there as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Please, if you meet me, get some masala chai for me.
Definitely. Thanks a lot.
You guys bought me on just the chai, all right?
It was very nice talking to you, Seb. And yeah, I mean, best of luck for all the endeavors that you are taking.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.
Ciao.